Are you on the fence about attending High Point Market or any market in general as an interior designer? Well, today's guest, Jenny Heinzen York of Currey Company, is going to talk us into it. Stay tuned. Hey kids, and welcome to Designed by Wingnut Social. I'm your host, interior decorator Darla Powell. Not my middle name is not really Jethro, but I do like to say it. Darla Jethro Powell, and I am the grand high poobah of all things here at Wingnut Social, a digital marketing agency for you guys, interior designers, interior decorators, home stagers, architects, and home furnishing manufacturers. And today, speaking of home furnishing manufacturers, we have Jenny Heinzen York from Currey Company. You guys know Currey Company, right? Man, they're a staple. They are just such an amazing company to work with, to source. The people are incredible. Beth Ann Matari is the GOAT. You guys who know, just know, right? And Jenny Heinzen York is the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer of Currey Company, but she runs around, she wears a lot of hats, right? So she's going to talk to us about the importance of markets, going to markets, networking, what's trending, what is upcoming, maybe some sneak little previews of what you're going to see at market from Currey Company. So maybe some insights to some top secret stuff. Maybe not. We'll see. But of course, you guys know the drill. Before I get into my conversation with Jenny Heinzen York, I have to tell you about her. Jenny Heinzen York is a longtime veteran of the home furnishings industry and current VP of marketing at Currey Company. Jenny spent 20 years at Home Accents Today and Furniture Today, with 10 of those years as editor-in-chief. She then managed home division marketing for AmericasMart in Atlanta before joining Currey in 2019. Wow. Talk about a resume there. All right. I'm very honored. All right, guys, help me in welcoming Jenny Heinzen York to the show. Hey there, Jenny Heinzen York. Welcome to the show. How the hell are you?
I'm great, Darla. Great to be here. Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you here. We were talking in the green room that I just bounced my whole desk. That's how excited I am. Bounced my whole camera. That Currey Company, one of my all-time favorite vendors when I was doing full-time interior design in Miami, Florida. And I reached out to her on LinkedIn and I was like, oh my gosh, she works at Currey Company. Let's get her on the show. And lo and behold, here you are. You said yes. So thank you so much for that, Jenny. So before we dive into our conversation about Currey Company and furnishings and why interior designers should attend markets and some of the latest trends and such, just tell the audience really briefly who you are and what you do at Currey Company, and we'll dive in.
I am the Vice President of Marketing at Currey. That means that there's all kinds of stuff that falls under what I sort of manage with our teams. So whether it's our website, whether it's our social media, I work with our PR team, our inside sales team, all of our print collateral, certainly attending all of our trade shows, all the digital stuff and all the things that, really take a lot of work and a lot of teamwork to make an effective marketing strategy. I always say that marketing, used to be buying ads and putting up some billboards, and maybe you'd put an ad on the radio or TV if you were really wild and crazy. But marketing now is hundreds and hundreds of tasks. So it's, we actually have a pretty healthy size team at Currey, and we work with outside agencies as well to kind of make all these pieces work.
Yeah, it is a lot. And that is at the core what Wingnut Social is. And this is our vehicle for our digital marketing agency. And that is what we do, is we do our mostly organic social media and paid social media for interior designers, architects, to the trade vendors, home manufacturers, et cetera. So I am well aware of what it takes. To do that. It is not a small feat. It's a full-time job just to do Instagram, like for a company your size. So my hat's off to you. Then thank you again for coming on the show. So we were talking, and I've mentioned this on the show a couple times, that going to market. Let's start there. The High Point Market fall's coming up, and we just had the spring. What was it, in April or of March this year? And I've always said on this podcast what an incredibly valuable resource it is for interior designers to go to market, to absorb the vendors, to network, and to view the trade sources, to get butts in seats, to honestly convey to their clients that this product is A, B, C, or D. in their home. And it's incredibly invaluable. But there are some interior designers out there who might be saying, oh, I don't know if I want to go. I don't want to, it's travel. I have to go to High Point, North Carolina, and then there's hotels. Is it really worth it? So let's start there. Let's talk about the importance of actually attending a trade show like High Point's my experience, or Las Vegas market or whatever it is that you want to throw out there. Why, if they're on the fence to setting up their plans for this October, why they need to go? And we'll have a conversation around that.
Yeah, I think, High Point is certainly our flagship show too. But I do get, having lived in High Point for most of my adult life before I relocated to Atlanta a few years ago, that it ain't easy. Certainly from an interior designer standpoint, there's no other experience like it. I would say if you're new to a market, that it may feel like a whole lot, and that perhaps there's some regional markets that are closer that could be easier for you to sort of start to understand what to do and kind of make it a little more manageable. So whether that's here in Atlanta or Dallas at the the World Trade Center, or if we're in Las Vegas at Las Vegas Market, we have showrooms in all of those, large, significant showrooms, that there are opportunities to go in and get some more bite-sized pieces if you don't feel that High Point is ready, or you're ready for High Point.
If it's not ready for you.
High Point is where you're going to see everything and everyone. And, there's just no way that other markets can kind of compete with that level. And again, we're strong supporters of all the shows and have large footprints in all of them. And the Currey team is in force and waving our flags everywhere we go. High Point is special, and High Point it's complicated and it's messy, but it's also like Fashion Week for the industry. And that's where everyone sort of brings out their best, whether it's the manufacturers, the designers, it's all the speaking opportunities and the panels. And it's, but at its core, market is about seeing things in person and seeing people in person. And that's really meaningful. It's meaningful to understand the scale. And we do beautiful photography at Currey, but we always know that, and our goal is that our photography is just good enough that it looks great and makes you want to buy it. But then when you pull it out of the crate or the box, you're like, whoa, this is so much nicer than I thought it was going to be. But if you've seen us at market, you already know that, because you see our quality and you understand our scale, which in many cases can be pretty significant. There's something really powerful to that. And then you also sort of get the benefit of all the visual merchandisers. And there's so many talented people in our industry who set up these showrooms and configure things in a way that hadn't crossed your mind, or introduce some trends or some new mixtures of patterns and materials that may feel very fresh to you and really work for your client base. There's a lot to be said for that in-person experience.
There really is. And I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to our mutual friend, Beth Ann Matari at Currey. She's worth the trip alone, guys, going to visit Currey Company.
Beth Ann is a force of nature. She loves the interior design community. She loves to entertain. She is our hostess. And, we have full catering and the whole shebang. You'll be greeted with a glass of wine or champagne, whichever your libation of choice is. And, we will treat you very well at Currey and make sure you have a great experience. Absolutely.
To that point, when I first put out my shingle, yes, as an interior designer, and my first trip to High Point Market, to your earlier point, it is a little overwhelming. It is huge. And when you're going, you might be a little intimidated, right? At least I was on there. So my first trip to market was really kind of a reconnaissance mission. It was really just to kind of get the lay of the land, to get familiar with it, to meet people, to network, to get free food and see the stuff for my clients. The second year I went, having had that experience, I was like an expert. I was moderating, I was speaking, I was in it. So the first time, I understand, might be a little intimidating, but it was insanely valuable. And if you don't know, you don't know, right? Until you go to make those connections and make that networking, and to see all the things and to be inspired by vendors maybe you haven't been exposed to yet, or trends that you weren't aware of just by looking at digital marketing or magazines or et cetera. And speaking of, you did mention trends. So who better to ask than someone in the know there? What kind of things are we expecting to see that's trending for the interior design space for these home goods that you're expecting to see in fall?
We at Currey try very hard to be trend conscious, but not trendy. We want our pieces to be very timeless. But we're always very aware of what's kind of happening. And then we can just even watch it as things start to wane sales wise and what's up and coming. And, we always want to be a little bit on the front edge of that. One area where we have been very successful is our use of natural materials. And I brag on us, feel like nobody does it better than we do. So whether it's abaca rope or rattan, natural shells, all sorts of different woods, driftwood, reclaimed pieces, recycled glass, all kinds of interesting materials that kind of come together to be very textural and dimensional and feel very unique, one of a kind-ish, because each piece really is sort of one of a kind. These are all, handcrafted, but using materials that have a very organic vibe to them. So I think that's something that it's certainly been an important part of our business for many years, but we continue to double down on it. We see that continuing to be very strong.
I don't see that going anywhere.
No, I don't, because I think it warms up your house. And even as we're still living in this moment of very neutral interiors, which I don't see going away, or we may get more neutral. Having the natural materials does add the dimension and texture. So it's not just so flat and kind of dull.
Well, we have the biophilic movements, the natural back to nature movements, especially after COVID, right? There was a whole push for healthier mindset, healthier house, healthier, really pushed it to the forefront. And a lot of the pieces, especially Currey, but a lot of the pieces that I'm seeing coming back into the trend, and I'm using air quotes here for our Design by Wingnut social on YouTube, so you can see those, is really classic, right? That's coming back to stay in a way. Like a lot of the materials in Currey Company has always been, right, smartly on the trend, but also classic and timeless. So you don't have to worry about something going out of style in 6 months or a year, right? So, and that's why designers just love Currey Company across the board, not just me. I'm not unique to that. So what are you seeing? You mentioned the neutrals and the natural tones. Gray is going away or has gone away. I'm thinking it's not really as prevalent as it was. What else, or what's going away?
So gray is definitely going away. We're seeing it transition to beige and ivories, some soft blushes, maybe some soft mineral blues. It's definitely going warmer, the palette that is selling for us. We are also seeing a strong move away from silver and cooler finishes. Very noticeable. And we're trying to sort of stick with that. So of course, silver is a core finish for anybody who works in metals as we do. So it's not that it's gone and it's going away, but we're really feeling, as the gray is going out, that a lot of things are just moving warmer. And with that goes the metal finishes. So brass in particular, but gold is always very strong for us.
We were doing our kitchen and we chose gold poles. And I remember that being popular like when I was a kid. And then there was a time there where you would look at that and you're like, oh my God, that's so dated. And here we are redoing a kitchen. It's so funny how it goes in, goes out. But now in my mind, it being 55 here, I think in my head, it is timeless. I would never change it. That's just the way I've absorbed that. I love it. I hope it goes nowhere again, but you know how that works.
Another movement that we're seeing is back toward a bit more classic design. You use the word classic. So Cecil Adams, our creative director, who's just brilliant, he coined the phrase, several years ago, the 20s contemporary. And we all sort of immediately went to 1920s. But he meant the 2020s because that's where we are now.
I know, it's amazing.
That how he sees the next iteration of modern and contemporary is really very soft and curved and much warmer. And so it's sort of interesting. And that has been a leading style theme in our showrooms and one that we continue to gravitate our product line to, supporting it with furniture. Lighting is certainly what we're most known for, but furniture and accessories and lamps are also very core categories to what we do. So bringing that little bit of a feminine aspect, the more curves, just a little softer contemporary into what we do has been really important to us. And we see that as a trend that will continue through the 2020s.
I've seen that in a lot of larger furnishings too, like Four Hands or Noir. I'm seeing a lot of that softer, more feminine in their sofas and their chairs and in their, I love that. So there is like an homage, like a little Art Nouveau, Art Deco kind of like piece in there for that design, right? Just a little bit that is bringing up the 20s and the design for that. So, but it is classic, right? It's classic to me.
Yes.
And that reminds me of something else that we'd said in our intake and in the green room. And you wanted to make a point, and I thought that this was, I can't wait to hear what you're going to say. But you were like, how designers, a big thing right now is sourcing curated and vintage pieces for their designs. There's a lot of clients from a sustainability point of view that might have a piece that they want to incorporate in their designs or want to bring in something that is vintage to help make the project unique. And you wanted to speak to that. And I'd love to hear your point on that.
Yeah. So this was actually something that we started doing at Currey just around the start of COVID, was bringing in these found objects. We have worked with a couple artists out of Thailand. And so we're bringing these one-of-a-kind pieces into our showrooms. We do not sell them online. We do not sell them anywhere except in person at markets. So whether it's our daily showrooms in Dallas or Atlanta or in the High Point showroom. So again, it helps not just add some, spice to our showrooms, which they certainly do because there's some pretty crazy pieces, but also, it reinforces what we talked about earlier, is that there's a reason to come to markets because we won't sell these online. The only place you can see these is in a Currey showroom. So that's just what we're doing. But as I've watched how it's been embraced by the design community, I feel like there's something there for the industry. I feel like we all want to differentiate and we all want to have a signature and we all want to have a look. And it gets harder because, the number of frankly, really reliable resources in some cases is dwindling. And how do you keep your design projects from looking like your peers and your competitors? And one really good way to do that is sourcing one of a kind or vintage or, art pieces. And we're trying to help bring that to the marketplace. So it's not quite as much detective work and scouring, but, the Antiques and Design Center in High Point does a great job of bringing beautiful pieces to market. You'd have to get there early to get good selection there.
Yeah.
But, even local vintage stores, but there's a lot of opportunities for this. Some of our competitors are in this space too, maybe not in the same approach that we have. We've definitely brought it in more as a whimsical angle to bring just a little bit of a smile to your face and a little wink and a smirk when you come in to Currey, but something again that feels really unique to each client and that captures personality. So it's sort of like a piece of art in a lot of ways. I mean, they are pieces of art, but if you love it and it makes you smile, it's going to make you smile every day. And, but it also can really be a differentiator because these just aren't pieces that you can go source or that you could find, marked down at Home Goods in 6-8 months. So
yeah, exactly. And I love that. That's such a great piece of positioning for an interior designer to have that differentiator. That's when I was doing full-time interior design, I had Darla Powell Interiors in Miami. I grew up, my mother had antique shops and antique stores. So I did have a pretty good working knowledge of pieces and curating pieces like that. So that was something that I had in my bio, my differentiator. And I do see more and more interior designers offering that as a service. It's not what I love that what you're doing right now is it's not that easy to learn about what you're looking at, where to source, where to find it. So you're helping to bring that to the forefront. And High Point Market has a terrific, thank you for reminding me, antique section, right? Antiques and collectibles section down there. I spent half of my time just down there. So again, overwhelming. Be prepared to stay there for a week.
Yeah. Atlanta Market also has some temporaries for antiques, and, true antiques are hard to source. If you don't know what you're doing, because they can be very expensive. And sometimes knowing what's really valuable and not is very hard to do. So again, it doesn't always have to be these big, expensive antique furniture pieces either. It can be, small pieces of art. It can be accessories. Primarily what we're doing is accessories. So, small tabletop. And when I say small, they may be, several feet tall, but tabletop table-toppable pieces that can go, in a lot of different places, like a bookcase, or again, there's just it's a little wink and a nod to unique
Sure.
tastes and unique personalities. And I find it to be a really valuable differentiator when you look and sort of, especially as we move back to a really neutral interiors, what's going to be the thing that makes your spaces stand out?
So besides the cold finishes, besides the gray that we're seeing going out of style, I'm going to ask you the burning question. This is the bane of some designers' existence. On others, it's not. It's the whole great thing. Farmhouse.
Yes.
What's happening with the farmhouse right now?
Yeah, for us, it's clearly moving out. It's not gone. Farmhouse and industrial, our assortment continues to shrink down. There is definitely that client there, and we know where they're all being informed, and it's a nice, very pleasant, livable look. But I think certainly from an interior design standpoint, it's gotten so mass market that it can be really hard to differentiate and really do a higher end design when you're competing with very mass market pieces and a sort of a more mass market look now. So I always encourage designers, if you like this as a concept and your client likes it as a concept, great. But let's figure out how do we make it a little more of the timeless. And not everything has to be black and white. Like, where do we get some color in here? Where do we get some warmth in here?
Yeah.
And all fixtures don't have to be made of iron. There's opportunities because it is a pretty basic framework that you can then add some spice to it that not only will differentiate you as a designer, but also your client space that, we don't all really want to look like we live in an HGTV home. So
yeah, exactly. That's actually a great niche, like elevated farmhouse. That could be the next elevation for that, pun intended, for those clients who still want that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, none of us live in farmhouses, so let's be real. And
I actually had a guest on that literally did, and she has pigs and cows and chickens and all this. I was like, okay, girl.
So she can have her modern farmhouse.
she can have it. And Ashton Kutcher and Mia Kunis, Mila, what's her name? Mia can have theirs, right? We were speaking in the green room that I was there about, I want to say 3 years ago, and did a live podcast at the High Point Market showroom with Sasha Bykoff. And she had done an incredible installation there.
Yeah.
Art. Speaking of one-offs or art pieces or reasons to go to market there, are you guys planning on doing anything like that at High Point Market this fall?
We like to keep a lot of that a surprise. But what we did in the spring, for those of you who didn't attend, is we launched a new collection with Marjorie Skoris. And Marjorie is a designer who we've worked with for well over 10 years. And her historical pieces with us have been very classically inspired, empire shapes and heavily beaded. She moved to Mexico and sort of reinvented her life in the Yucatan and has really reinvented her design perspectives. So we dedicated that big hallway in High Point to her new collection, which is these oversized palm frond chandeliers and sand dollars, and everything's white. And it's very different than what we have done with her in the past. But to your point about special pop-ups for market, she actually is a collector of vintage Mexican dresses. So we did a full museum installation of some of her museum collection, and then we sold about 100 of them as for people to come in and try. So that was a real fun, exciting thing. So we love to do that kind of thing. We do pop-ups with artisans. We've had some things going on with chandelles, doing the marbled shades. So we always like to bring something that's not just Currey into our space. It adds color, it adds life. It also helps introduce artisans to the marketplace and gives you a reason to come see us. And, that's all part of what we're trying to do. So that one that we did for Sasha was a great, big, fun, top secret project. And so we love to do things like that. I don't know that we'll do something like that this fall. We'll reset in the spring. That's typically when we do the full hallway redo. But the Marjorie collection has been really fun, and the dresses were just beautiful in a great, colorful edition. So you never quite know what you're going to get when you come in.
I love that. And I love that it's top secret. It's like, we're not going to tell you, just come to market. Yeah, you guys. And plus there's, I forgot to mention, cause I'm a Taurus and a little bit of a foodie, but there's tons of food. And you did say, we'll treat you with libations, and
Absolutely.
Jenny's serious. Pretty much whatever you want. I mean, Beth Ann, I went there with my old podcast host, and Beth Ann knew we were kind of like, our brand is bourbon and whiskey. And she went and she got us a whiskey, and it was like, here you go, walk around.
Yeah.
It's terrific hospitality, and a beautiful showroom.
Well, and it's part of just wanting to get to know people. And that's we work really hard to know our customers and make sure it's not just kind of a generic experience.
And it's not, it really isn't. So is there anything else that you would advise interior designers who are on the fence about going to market that might push them over the edge on why it's so important before we get into the What Up Wingnut round?
Reach out to your market organizers. There are often a lot of incentives, and High Point may be a little more challenging for that, but they're looking to recruit buyers too. So if you have questions, if you need direction, if you need help with a hotel reservation, so whether it's High Point Market Authority or directly to formerly IMC, going to AmericasMart or Las Vegas, they're often able to procure hotel rooms. There might be some incentives there. We're all looking to we make significant investments in these showrooms. We want buyers there. So, we help underwrite that with our leases to make sure we're getting new faces in there all the time. So don't be afraid to reach out and use those resources. Also reach out directly to some of your vendors, because we get requests constantly from the market centers for buyer lists, and, we don't give that kind of thing away. But if we know there's some incentives out there, then we might provide, like, here's some that we'd love to see. So, stay in touch with your vendors and with your market centers, because there may be ways to get you there that could help mitigate your costs, or just sort of facilitate your trip and just make it easier to help you figure out what you're doing and where you need to be.
What we do when we go up and stay up there is we just get a VRBO or a house and just share with other designers from Facebook groups or in our circle of friends, in our circle of networking. That works out really well. Because I know hotel, but guys, if you are thinking of going, book or find some resources and book, because they get pretty tight pretty quick.
And don't be surprised if you're staying 45 minutes away.
Yeah,
but they have a great bus system, and they make it as easy as possible. It's still going to be complicated, and it's going to be expensive. As a business value, absolutely. There's just
worth every penny. And the High Point Market actually has an app, a really, really good app that you can plan your whole trip and showrooms and when you're going to see and what you're going to see. And the educational component at High Point Market is second to none. From going and seeing your favorite influencers, interior design coaches, superstars in the interior design will go and they'll do panels and do speaking gigs, and you can learn stuff. And there's classes and courses that are CEU there, and your favorite podcast host or industry leaders there you'll see speaking or moderating or whatever. And it's at the end of the day, great for business and a really good time. It is. It's a nice party time. All right, Jenny Heinzen York. Now I have to ask you, are you ready for the What Up Wingnut round?
Well, we'll see.
What would the hashtag on your tombstone be?
A little good at a lot of things.
You're stuck on a deserted island, but you can have your one favorite food forever. What is it?
It's not exactly a food, but I can put Tabasco sauce on anything. So if I have my Tabasco on my island, I'll be good. I'll put it on my coconuts and the fish I'm plucking out, and I will be just fine with a big bottle of Tabasco.
That's a first and a smart choice. I love it. And last but not least, please recommend a book that's impacted you either personally or professionally.
So the one I want to talk about is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. So I'm very much a read for pleasure kind of person. I don't look for deep meanings in my books. I don't like to cry during a book. I want to have a good time when I read it. But I also really enjoy the craft of writing. And I loved what she did as just a way of reinventing a story, which is really about reinvention, about second chances and multiple chances. So there is some insight personally, but I also just loved the form in which she wrote that. So Life After Life, Kate Atkinson.
I love that. All right. Well, Jenny Heinzen York, thank you so much for joining us and talking us into going to High Point Market. or any market really, and the value therein and the trends. And please tell the audience listening where they can go to find out more about Currey Company and High Point Market or whatever it is that you want to tell them about. And then we will call it a day.
For sure. So come see us in High Point. We're on the lobby level. Pretty much all of our showrooms are like right at lobbies. So we like to be really easy to find, but we're in the main building right across from Norwalk Furniture and right across the street from the entrance to Inner Hall. Love to see everybody there. And again, come introduce yourself to me or find Beth Ann. We are always around. Otherwise, please follow us on social. Our hashtag is Currey Co, Currey Co. So that's where you can find us on our very active Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter even. We're really engaged on the social perspective. Curreyandcompany.com if you want to shop us or apply for an account, then it's very easy to do that on our website. We can also help you set up an account in person at Market when we see you in High Point, where I'm sure you'll all be.
I love it. Spoken like a true marketing CMO. Great job. Thank you so much for joining us. All right. So if you're on the fence, I hope that Jenny Heinzen York pushed you over it. Jumped over the fence. When I was a cop, I used to do that every now and then when I was younger, jump over the fence, chasing people. So I hope that Jenny was able to push you over the fence so you can go. And she did mention some resources. Those will be in the links at wingnutsocial.com if you want to review the notes and links and all of that good stuff there. And if you're in interior design Facebook groups, interior design business, B2B Facebook groups with other interior designers, that's a great resource as well to see where do we stay, VRBOs, hotels, what to do. And it's okay to be overwhelmed when you go. It is okay. You're always going to have that first day of school to go and just get familiar. Just get familiar with the lay of the land, talk to some people. And then when you go the following time or the following year, you're going to be like, oh yeah, you're going to be an old pro. You're going to be an old pro at this. So definitely go to whether it's High Point or Vegas or your local. Like when I was in Miami, we had the Dakota DCOTA. We did some speaking there and there were some great resources there. It's invaluable to your education and to your business for real. You really need to make that investment to go. All right, guys, that is it for this episode. Remember, if you need help with marketing your interior design firm on social media, Instagram, oh my God, if you've listened to any of our back episodes, so important for your interior design firm to attract ideal clients, to build that know, like, and trust and get your brand out there. That's what we do. That's all we do is work with interior designers, home stagers, decorators, architects, to the trade home manufacturers, home furnishing manufacturers in general. That's all we do. We specialize in that. Wingnutsocial.com. Go and check that out. Our course, Instagram for interior designers on demand, online course to learn how to set a strategy, write a strategy for your interior design firm and implement it for impactful marketing on Instagram, just so you're not throwing stuff at the wall, hoping it sticks and wasting your time. That's at wingnutsocial.com under Wingnut Academy. Really highly reviewed. Got a lot of students in there in our Facebook group. Not a lot of activity in the Facebook group because I guess the course is so thorough they don't have a lot of questions, but it is there as a resource should you need it, which is really great access to me and my team. If you have questions, that's at wingnutsocial.com, Wingnut Academy. And that is it for today. Remember, until next time, to get out there, get uncomfortable, go to market, and be great. And today, what's in it for me that this episode with Jenny Heinzen York has been valuable and helpful for you. All right, guys, we really hope that you enjoyed the show. Remember, if you need help with your social media marketing for your interior design business, you're a home furnishing manufacturer or architect, Wingnut Social is it's a thing. Wingnut Social is a thing. It exists. It's here. And, it's here in this simulacrum of life. I don't even know if I said that right. Probably didn't.